Hello YouTube friends, welcome back to C++ programming. Now in today's video we are taking tutorial 3. Now in our previous video we spoke about the processes involved in executing a C++ program. Now we also spoke about data types in C++ programming. Well, in today's video we are going to be talking about pointers, arrays and referencing in C++. So let's begin. So the first thing we are going to be taking is pointers in C++. Let's do this. So now the first question is, what is a pointer? So a pointer is a variable that stores a memory address. So now instead of holding a direct value, a pointer holds the location where another values variable is stored. We have to think of it like, for example, a house number. We will take the house number as the pointer. We are going to be taking where to find the actual house as the value. I hope you get this one. Now we have the declaration and initialization as we spoke about in our previous video. Now, to declare a pointer in C++, we use the asterisk. That's the symbol for declaring a pointer. And the ampersand. The ampersand will be used to get the memory address of the variable. So let's take a practical example. So this, we have int my value to be equal to, let's say 42. Okay, so hold on, sorry, I didn't see that. 42, okay, 43, whatever it is. Now the line you are seeing here is a regular integer value we have declared. Now if you have int, then we put the asterisk symbol there, ptr. I mean, this is to point to the value. Yes, we have this. Now we'll equate this to my value. Yes, so what you are seeing here is that we declare a pointer to ptr. We declare a pointer to ptr and initialize it with the memory address of the my value. I hope you get it. We declare a pointer to ptr and we have a memory address location which is initialized as my value. As you can see here, this is our initialization of a pointer. Now we have something we also call dereferencing. Now dereferencing is like accessing the value. So now let's take an example. So let's see out my value. So let's take the sample code. Now this code will output 43, which is the integer value we declared. So my value over here is going to it's going to output 43 to the terminal. So let's run the code and see. So as you can see on your screen, we have 43 process executed, execution time 0.7, that's not needed, but we have 43 showing on our output terminal, as you can see on your screen. Now we are going to do something else. So now let's see out the ptr to value. Now we have this. So now this is going to output the memory address, and it is going to show in something that I think you must have seen or must not have seen before. So as you can see on your screen, on our second line of code, this is the output and it is showing as 0x61ff08, and that is the memory address location for 42, which was declared in the first line of code we have over here. So whatever you saw on the second line is the memory address location for the integer we declared over here, which is 43. Now let's do one more example. So let's see out this time around we add the asterisk symbol ptr to value. Now we have this. Hold on, it seems I've made a mistake somewhere. Okay guys, I just realized I made a mistake and I didn't notice. Well, I wanted to follow a default format that mostly it's used in C++ when we are lecturing someone, we are trying to explain things to someone. But it's still going to work, but let's just use the rights so that if you see it somewhere else, you understand what we are actually talking about. Later I think you can manipulate your own code. So what I meant to use over here was ptr. So yeah, that's it, ptr. PTR. I already have that. So yes, so this is what you can use any value of your choice to, reference it, if you get what I'm saying. But just to make things clear here, so that if you see it anywhere, you get the entire concept. We are going to using PTR to be representing like our pointer. So it's just to make you know that wherever you see this, we are talking about a pointer. You can name your own pointer with whatever you want to name it with, but we are going to be using PTR just so that if you see it anywhere, you know what we are talking about here. All right. So now we have this. So now let's run this code we are seeing here and know the outputs. Now, as you can see on your screen, the third line is showing 43 again, and that is the integer value we declared. So this is where the asterisk comes into place. So as we declared over here, as you are seeing here, the asterisk was added to the PTR to value to output 43 to the terminal. And over here we learned that the first line over here, which is the int my value equals 43. We have declared an integer value to my value, yes, as you can see over here. And over here is where the pointer initialization comes to place, and it goes in that order. And our output, we have 43 as our first line of output for this. We outputted my value, and the second one was the pointer address, the address location, the memory address for 43, as we can see on our output terminal. And finally we have this one, which is going to output 43 to our terminal. Alright, so the next thing we want to talk about are arrays. So arrays are literally collection of elements of the same data type that is going to be stored in contiguous memory locations. So they also provide a way to store multiple related values under a single variable name. Now think of it as mailboxes. So we have different mailboxes in front of different houses. Now they are lined up one after the other. Let's take it in that way. Just picture it in mind. So each mailbox has an index number. Yes. Now there's a few things you have to know about arrays. Now in C++ programming, or let me say in computing or in programming generally, numbers are being counted from 0. 0 is a very important number when it comes to the computer world of things. So counting starts from 0. So please don't forget this. So in arrays, we are going to be dealing with this particular rules. So note that when you're counting in arrays or you're counting in C++, you start from 0 before you go to 1. So you can have an array size of 5. Now note that 0 is part of the numbers going to be counted as part of the entire whole as a whole. You get me. So now let's put this into practice. So let's get rid of, or let me just comment these. I hope you are not confused by this. But now we are, so let me just name this. So these are pointers, as we did over there. Now we are talking about arrays. Okay, so now let's talk about arrays. So in arrays, we have declaration and initialization. Now I specify the data type, the array name, and the array size in a square bracket. So we are going to be taking a sample. So let's take a sample, int numbers. Oh no, let's take something else. Let me take mobile phones. So let's say phones. So we have an array size for phones to be 5. And don't forget to bring your semicolon. Now for array sizes, we use square brackets, so kindly take note of that very well. It's square brackets we are going. So the integer, we have the variable name, and we have our number or our size, our array size, which is 5. Now we have declared an array named phones, and it can hold 5 different integers, or sorry, 5 different phones. All right, so now the elements are not initialized by default for the local, so we can do it this way as well. So the int phones, then we don't put any number in there, and we name our, now to put in elements for phones, you have to bring in the curly brackets. So of course my favorite, hold on, Samsung, then iPhone, then Pixel, then we have OnePlus, then we have nothing. Now these are 5 different phones that we have over here. Now we have declared and initialized an array. Now over here, the array size is 5 and it is automatic that it's 5. Now I think there's one thing I should have done. If you can notice very well, I'm getting red underlines over here, which means there's an error. As you can see, I've declared an integer variable here. I've made this an integer, but I'm using, words, which means what I'm doing is not corresponding over here. So basically, what I was supposed to use for phones should be string. So if you look closely, I'm getting string over here. And once string comes into place, I have to introduce our double quotes. And if you look closely, now the red line is gone from here. So we have to do same for all of them. Sorry, this wasn't part of my script, but it's good you have noticed it. It's part of the learning process. Okay, so to be sure we are on the right path, we bring in a semicolon, and now we will execute our code to see if it runs successfully. Okay, so our code builds and runs successfully with execution time of 3 seconds, and that's good. So actually we are right. So what we did over here was just to correct our data type to be string, so that we'll be able to use words like these or names like these with the double quotes. So if you can remember very well, I didn't speak more of string in our previous video, but that's how string values are being declared, and they have to always go with the double quotes when you are putting in any value for that. Now let's keep that into focus. Now don't also forget that to separate your element in an array, you have to make use of the the commas. The commas are very, very important, and if you miss them, I think you are going to be getting errors here and there. So now let's continue. So now, how do you access these elements we have in the array? So here's how to do it. So of course, we bring our C out, our console out, and let's output something to the console first. So first phone, then we bring a space, we bring this so that when we are outputting to the console, we are calling for that particular first phone, it's going to continue on that particular line. We bring this again, and now we bring in the name of the array, which is phones. Then now we'll open square brackets, and we bring in the number 0, which I said is the first number when you're counting in computing or in C++. Yes, 0. Then now we bring our end line, and now we bring our semicolon as well. Now if we are to execute this code, we are going to be getting Samsung as our successfully executed code. So that is how to access elements in an array in C++. How fun is it? Let me know in the comments down below, because it's just nice. So if you want to access, let's say, phone number 3, which in the case of a computer it will be phone number 2, we are going to be doing C out. Then we can decide to just output it straight forward, but I want to put in something to the console so that we get it in a form of, you get what I'm saying. So phone number 3 on my side, phone number 3, and that's we are going to call the phones array again. We bring in our square brackets, and that is number 2. Then today I don't know what's wrong with my typing, but anyway, yeah. So now we run this again, and we are getting Pixel, which is the Google Pixel, as our phone number 3, but in the computer it's phone number 2. And you see how the whole thing works. It's just fun. There are more reasons why we have to use arrays in everyday programming. Arrays have something to do in common with functions, and that's why I'd like to lecture functions. But I think as time goes on, we'll get to use them in making real code to create something. You'll see how useful they are and how effective they are in making programming easy for the user. Now let's move to something else. So arrays are fundamental for storing a list of data, like a list of student grades or a sequence of sensor readings. So there are more uses for it. As I said, we'll talk about them as we proceed. So we are done with arrays. Let's comment that. Now we are moving to the last part of today's video, and that is references. Okay, so now we have gotten to references. So references, what are references? So a reference is an alias or an alternative name for an already existing variable. So once a reference is initialized to a variable, it cannot be reseated to refer to another variable it's permanently bounded to. So you can think of it as a nickname. So the nickname is like the reference, and it's referencing the exact name of the person. The exact name of the person over here is the variable. So we are going to be taking some samples, but before that, we have, or of course, we have the declaration and the initialization. So we use the ampersand in the case of referencing when we want to declare a reference. And also, now one thing to also know that a reference must be initialized at the same time of its declaration. It cannot be now. So we are going to be taking a sample so that you understand what we are talking about. So we are going to be using int original value over here, and we are going to be using 25 as our number for today. Now, once again, we have our semicolon. Without it, we are going to be going errors. And now our second code, we have the int, and don't forget over here we'll bring in the ampersand because we want to declare reference. Then our ref value will come here, and we equate that to original value. Now what we have done here is that the ref value, which is this one, is an alias for the original value. So meaning whatever that we are seeing here is an alternative name for this, and this is equal to this. Original value is equal to 25. Now the ref value is like the nickname for original value, and original value is 25. So definitely, if original value is equal to ref value and original value is 25, therefore ref value is also what? 25. I hope you get the whole thing. So we'll take more examples. I think you get what I'm trying to say over here. So now we are going to be outputting this to the console. So now we'll see out original value. We'll leave some space here for the console to output something there for us. Then now we have original value, and we have this. So now let's check what we get as an output for this. Now as you can see on your screen, original value is equal to 25. Okay, so if original value is 25, what about the reference value? So we'll see out the and we'll do same. Now we are going to be running this code and we'll see what we get. And nothing should stop you from knowing that you are going to be getting 25 since they are all equal. So as you can see on your screen, both original value and the reference value is 25. Now I want to do something different. Now one thing to know about referencing is that once you initialize a reference, you cannot change or refer to another name for it. I mean, when you state or you initialize a reference name with original value, I mean it's constant. You can't do anything about it. But with the value we have here, it can be changed, and it can be changed through our reference value. And so, okay, so we are going to take an example, and I think this example will help you understand better. So let's take ref value and we equate it to 30. Now ref value is equal to 30. So what we have here is that now we are going to be changing the value we have here to be 30, from 25 to 30. And now we are going to be outputting this to the console to see if we can get 25 or we get 30. Now if we see out the original value after ref change, now this time around we are going to be taking original value and we are going to be running this code to see what we get. So our final output over here is 30. So after we change the value of the reference, we got our 30, and that is, I think, what we have to know about referencing when it comes to C++. But generally speaking, there is one thing to know when it comes to referencing and pointers. If you have realized, pointers and referencing have some things in common. I'm going to be pointing out like two of them. Now, referencing or references cannot be now. They must always refer to a valid object. Pointers can be now, on their side. And now, once initialized, the reference cannot be made to refer to another variable name. Another variable name, that's the keyword. Our pointers, on the other hand, can be reassigned. That's what I have over here for you. Thank you very much. So generally, each of these concepts provide a different way to interact with data in memory. Now, choosing the right one will depend on your specific program needs and also the level of control you require for your program. Now, generally, these are some few things we'll be using in our coding as time goes on. Thanks for watching this video. If you learned anything, let me know. If there's something you didn't understand you want me to change about my video or I should improve upon, let me know in the comment section down below. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll be with you in the next one. Peace out.